But what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of
Say
it.
that the Buccaneers' safety has gotten officially waived from the team. According to reports, this decision to waive Sanders was in connection to an on-field incident in which Sanders would end up striking opposing player.
I'm proud of my kids, all of them. And I prepared my kids for any and everything that could possibly happen in life and in sports.
Eric Dickerson just dropped a bomb about Shiloh Sanders getting cut by the Buccaneers. And if his words are true, this isn't just bad luck, it's straight sabotage. Within 1 week, both of Deion Sanders' sons got dragged through the mud, and it looks way too calculated to be random. Shiloh made headlines first after swinging on another player in a preseason game, ejected on the spot.
Couple days, 3 days until roster cutdowns. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you belong here on this team?
Obviously.
Less than 24 hours later, the Bucs showed him the door like he was disposable. Then his brother Shadur had his own nightmare, sacked 5 times and basically one half benched and left looking exposed on national TV. And if that wasn't enough, sports media instantly pushed the narrative that Shadur didn't even deserve a roster spot. The timing of all this chaos feels way too perfect, doesn't it?
In a discussion about player protests during the national anthem, Houston Texans owner Bob McNair said, quote, "We can't have the inmates running the prison."
Now, to the average fan, this might just look like 2 young athletes struggling to adjust. But Eric Dickerson is calling foul play. He insists this isn't about performance, it's about power. According to him, the NFL is blackballing the Sanders family on purpose because they can't stand how Coach Prime shakes up the system, talks his talk, and refuses to play by their old-school rules.
What'd you say to Shiloh Sanders after that ejection?
I know you can't throw punches in this league. I mean, that's inexcusable. They're gonna get you every time. You gotta grow from that.
And then what did you say to the officials after that? It looked like you were possibly trying to argue with them.
We're talking about another play.
And let's be real, history backs this up. We've seen the league quietly shut out players who refuse to bow down. We've seen owners throw around inmates running the prison comments. We've seen the league run like a modern-day plantation.
That moment with Shiloh where it felt like you kind of were just finishing your block through the play and he just felt some sort of way about it.
Yeah, something on the backside of screens we preach is the guy on the backside is making the touchdown block. I was just taking the far deep DB and trying to finish through the whistle, and he had a little bit more to say.
Did you say to him, "You're too small"?
I didn't say anything. I may have gestured something, but if you get mad for getting blocked, I can't really control what he does.
Let's break this whole mess down. What really happened with Shiloh? What's going on with Shadur? What Dickerson actually said, and how it all ties back to the NFL's dirty game. First up, Shiloh's disaster. This man was literally 24 hours away from making his NFL dream come true, about to step on the field for his very first regular season snap. But instead of a celebration, his shot got snatched away after one preseason dust-up. Here's how it went down. Shiloh got tangled with Bills tight end Zach Davidson after the whistle. Cameras caught Zach yanking Shiloh's face mask, a move that easily could have drawn a flag. But no, the refs let it slide.
What I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft
Really?
him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't gonna draft him either. They weren't gonna draft him.
Frustrated, Shiloh swung a punch, and just like that, Zach flipped into victim mode. Now let's be honest, scraps like this happen all the time. We've seen players swing during preseason, practice, even joint workouts. Normally it's a fine, maybe a suspension, then everyone keeps it moving. But Shiloh, he got hit with the harshest treatment possible. Less than 24 hours later, Tampa Bay waived him like yesterday's trash. And when it came time to defend his player, head coach Todd Bowles left Shiloh out to dry. After their 23-19 loss, Bowles dismissed the situation with one cold line. Shiloh's actions were inexcusable.
The fact that he shouldn't have been picked number 144, it's a subtle repudiation of the attitude that teams have when the draft rolls around.
Yeah.
That the players should all line up and bow down to the statue of the NFL draft.
Yep.
We're going to deify the draft because how dare you treat the process other than your lips on our ass. If you dare deviate from the process of your lips on our ass, you will pay for it. Even if it hurts us, because collectively and individually, we ignore the talent to send you a message so others will know when the time comes for the pre-draft process. Take your lips and put them on our ass. Because that's why he fell. He treated it like he was being recruited, not like he was being interviewed. Well, sucks for the teams that allowed that to keep them from drafting a guy who clearly is more talented than pick number 144.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's talent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Sure.
People allowed all that other stuff to get in the way of the talent, and they want to send this kid a message because they don't want people to have power. So many of the threads, Chris, of all the stuff we're seeing now in the NFL is about power and about showing power to the players. The teams have the power. The league has the power. The players don't. When they try to show it, they're getting screwed.
But here's the real problem. It's not just that Shiloh got flagged and tossed out the game. It's that the ref was right there watching Zach Davidson yank on Shiloh's face mask way after the play. Clear, unnecessary roughness, and still never threw a flag. That's the type of bias you can't ignore. And this isn't even the first time Shiloh's been on the wrong end of an unfair call. Back at Colorado, he got ejected for targeting in a hit most fans swore was clean. Now fast forward, one heated preseason moment in the NFL, Shiloh defends himself and boom, he's out the door before the season even starts. Meanwhile, Zach Davidson, he wasn't even whistled. He instigated the whole thing and walked away spotless like nothing happened. To make it worse, Davidson later denied provoking Shiloh at all, claiming Shiloh just got mad from being blocked. And the media ran with that version. Reporters framed their questions like Zach was the innocent party. Not a single challenge to his role in sparking the fight. That kind of one-sided coverage doesn't just look unfair, it screams setup. Fans saw it too, and they're not holding back. One fan on X wrote, "Very clearly a setup. The players were instructed to solicit an attack. The refs were instructed to wait for it." Another said, "The league is conspiring against that family." And honestly, can you blame them? None of this makes sense if it's really about discipline. It feels way bigger, like the league has it out for the Sanders name. And don't forget, this all went down just days after his brother Shadur got pummeled in the Browns' preseason game, sacked 5 times, and pulled like he was set up to fail. The Browns were facing the Rams in the final 2 minutes, the perfect chance for Sanders to prove he could handle late-game pressure. But instead of letting him shine, Coach Kevin Stefanski yanked him out and tossed in Tyler Huntley. That one move sparked outrage, with fans accusing Stefanski of straight-up sabotaging Shadur. And some believe it's all part of a bigger plot against the Sanders family. One fan on X went all the way in, saying, "Kevin Stefanski has pledged allegiance to Jim Crow to prove that Shadur Sanders doesn't belong." Stefanski is choosing to be bold about it too. Another added, "They already made their decision before they drafted him. Go to a better organization, Sanders, please." And honestly, with how things look, a lot of people agree that Shadur was set up to fail before he even had a chance to show his game. Now, you might be wondering, didn't every team pass on Shadur during the draft multiple times? That's where Eric Dickerson's claims come crashing in. According to him, this wasn't just coincidence, it was calculated. He said he heard from a very reliable source inside the NFL that league executives told teams flat out, do not draft Shadur Sanders. Why? Because they wanted to make an example out of him. That's sabotage on another level, and this isn't even the first time we've heard whispers like this. Analyst Mike Florio has also alluded to the league purposely trying to humble Shadur because he wouldn't bow down and play the political game, or as Florio put it, kiss the ring. The NFL doesn't like when a new face comes in with swagger, especially if his last name is Sanders. Now here's where the debate gets heated. Some people are saying Eric Dickerson can't be trusted because he's got his own long history of beef with the NFL. Others argue there's no conspiracy at all, claiming Shadur just isn't good enough to play at this level. And leading that charge is Daniel Kelly, a former NFL scout with the New York Jets, who decided to blast Shadur publicly on X. Kelly didn't hold back one bit. He dropped the link to Shadur's full pre-draft scouting report and doubled down in his caption. I did the work on Deion Sanders pre-draft. I put a raft free agent grade on him. Bottom line, he wasn't good enough and he's still not good enough. He didn't show the skill set or the mindset needed to succeed as an NFL quarterback. He hit his ceiling at Colorado. That's about as brutal as it gets. Kelly even claimed Shadur was the most hesitant quarterback I've ever evaluated, and said the red flags in his character were worse than any other prospect he'd scouted. According to him, all the receipts are in that report. Game film, personality concerns, everything. And when you actually look at the breakdown, the language is just as harsh. Tough, athletic, resilient, but a low-ceiling prospect. Decent arm strength, but takes forever to warm up. Struggles against higher-ranked opponents, goes into a shell under pressure, can't speed up when the game demands it. Prone to fumbling snaps. Mobile enough to reset the pocket, eyes downfield, poised. 1 to 2 reads, inconsistent progressions, locks onto one target, telegraphs his throws, limited trust in receivers, hesitation built into his game, questionable field vision. That's how scouts tore Shadur down in black and white. But even with all those criticisms, a big chunk of fans refuse to buy the idea that this is just about talent. They believe the NFL has been out to get the Sanders family from day one. And for many, this all ties back to Deion, the way he raised his sons to know their value, to never bow their heads, to believe they're worth more than whatever scraps the league is offering. One fan laid it out raw on X, saying, "As a Black Marine Corps veteran and single father who raised a son in the South, I've seen this play before. It's the same story. America hates any black man who shows up for his kids, teaches them confidence, and raises them to view themselves as equals. What we're watching from the NFL is implicit bias, microaggressions, and blind prejudice trying to derail these young kings." That comment hit heavy, and a lot of people agree. History shows us this isn't new. The league has been accused of the same tactics before, and if fans are right, we're just seeing the latest chapter. Accountability? Don't hold your breath. The machine rarely admits its own bias, but here's the twist. Deion isn't losing sleep over it. When asked about Shiloh being waived, Coach Prime brushed it off, saying he's not worried. Why? Because his sons will be just fine with or without the NFL. That's confidence money can't buy, and maybe that's exactly why the league is rattled. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the NFL is really setting up the Sanders boys because they won't bow down? Or is this just a case of them not being ready for the league? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button, share this with a friend, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.